What are we going to talk about today? Well, guess what? I said that I was going to come and talk about scholarships and how you can apply to a scholarship and some of the things that I think you need to do to make your application packet stand out. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about. I cannot wait. 'Tis the season to get the coin, but more importantly, let's talk about the work that you have to do to get in there and get done what you need to get done. So let's get started. First things first, my opinion as a 20 plus year professional, a woman who has applied to scholarships and won a variety of scholarships, not just for undergrad, but also for graduate school as well. I have reviewed scholarship applications and I have awarded scholarships as part of my position. Let me tell you, apply to as many as possible. That's all I wanted y'all to know. Apply to as many scholarships as you can. Put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to fill out the application and apply. Now, I'm going to tell you what most people are going to say, which is what I've heard, is that it's a lot of work. And it is an investment, but the reward is definitely worth it. So Google is your friend. Google scholarships. Google scholarships in your area. If you live on the West Coast, Google scholarships in your district. Google as many scholarships as you can so that you can find out what's out there. And don't just stay in your neck of the woods. Go global. Search by your field of study. You can search by the award, like the amount. You can actually search for $500 scholarships, full tuition scholarships. The world is your oyster in terms of the variety of scholarships that are out there. But guess who has to do the work? That's you. You got to do it. I'm following my finger. You actually have to go out there and put in the sweat equity. Okay, that's what I call the work. Another tip, which is now tip number 2, is that I need you, once you identify the scholarships that you want to apply to, read, and read very carefully what the requirements are. Don't just assume that because this scholarship is awarding the similar type of discipline or has the same type of requirements or the same award that they're all the same. You need to, and this I stress is nothing but a recommendation, get a sheet of paper. I was going to say get an Excel spreadsheet, but you don't even have to do that. Get a sheet of paper, list the scholarships that you want to apply for, and just do a matrix. Right beside each scholarship program, start writing down the requirements for each one. Read, write them down, and then start looking at how you meet those requirements. And that way you can sort of filter. So if you started out with 20 from tip number 1, after you look at the requirements for each one of those in tip number 2, you may only end up with 7 or 10 or 12 scholarships that you can actually apply for. So I think you all understand that. Make sure you understand all the requirements and gather your application materials. Don't wait and don't delay, because part of the requirements is when it's due. So that's one piece of information that you definitely have to look at. I know it sounds commonsensical, but I need you to look at that as well. Understand when the application itself is due and when all of the information is needed. This is going to be tip number 3. Now we're getting to the good stuff. We're getting to the meat. We're getting to the content. There may be scholarships that are merit-based, which means based on your GPA and based off some other details you include in your application, you're going to be alongside thousands of your nearest cousins and brothers and sisters, and then they're going to rank you, and then they're going to select the top how many. That's a different type of scholarship. If you're applying for a scholarship that requires a writing assignment, that requires you to submit recommendations, understand what those needs are, and start talking to people. Do not delay, do not wait. And this is what I call the content. So I'm just going to get right to it. Miss Karen, why do I have to write an essay? I'm just going to write one essay and just let that do for all. Anything worth done is worth doing well, because at the end of the day, you're applying. They don't need the money. They're giving it to you. So if it's something that you want, I need you to put in the work required to get what it is that you want. And in this case, it's the money. So, no, one essay across 5 different scholarships will not do. I need you to be comfortable with telling your story. And this is tip 4. I'm going to give you the ABCs of essays or a writing sample that you yourself have to produce. Number 1, be authentic. You are a unique person with gifts and talents and a perspective. No 2 people in this entire world are alike. We're all different. And so you can't follow the script from one of your girlfriends or one of your boys on how they were able to win this scholarship because they said this, and this. Because if there's an interview and they find out that what you wrote does not match who you are, then that's an integrity issue. So here's what I need you to do. Be authentic. If there's something that's great about you or that you think is unique about you, write it down. Okay? This is important. I have read so many essays, and I understand that you're smart, and I understand that you have the GPA, and I know what school you go to, but I don't know anything about you, the person, because you're just giving me chapter and verse of what you think I want to know about you, when in actuality, I want to know about you, what makes you different, what your thoughts are, what your dreams are. I want to know that stuff. And I think that it's important for you to tell your story. B, brag about your achievements. Yes, we're talking about popping the collar. And by achievements, I don't just mean the scholastic ones. So you don't make straight A's. So you don't make straight A's and B's. Achievements could be employee of the month. An achievement could be that you are in an extracurricular program and you won an award, or your first string, or you received the opportunity to go on a trip because someone acknowledged you. Achievements are just that, achievements. Stop removing yourself from achievements because they're not academic. Let me tell you something. If everybody was supposed to have a 4.0, then everybody would have one. Grades do not define you. GPA does not define you. Along the way, you were recognized for something. Someone said a kind word to you. Let's just say, Miss Karen, I don't have any achievements. Someone has said something good about you. Put that in your content, put that in your write-up, and give them enough information so that they know what you did and why the person said what they said. Last but not least is the C, tell a compelling story, which means don't make it up. This isn't a time to pretend like you're a movie director and you're telling this story. Compelling just means I'm interested. Tell me something about you that makes me interested and want to read more. Again, there is something interesting and compelling about each one of us. And sometimes it's hard to pull that stuff out, but once you start writing and once you start thinking about how cool and amazing you are and some of the things that you've done that you forget about, that you don't even realize that you do, it's all going to come together. So those are my ABCs. So here's what I'm going to conclude on. I've given you 4 tips. I've told you what I think about the process, and I've told you what I think you should do. And now it's time for you to seal the deal. I need you to go out there and go get what it is that you want to have. If there's a scholarship out there, there are hundreds and thousands of opportunities that people, organizations have to give money. And I'm going to give you this one for free because sometimes people think scholarships just come from local places, and they do. Your school could have a scholarship. A civic organization in your community could have a scholarship. There are national scholarships. There are scholarships based off of certain groups, certain diversity groups. There's scholarships based off of your ethnicity. There's scholarships based off of your desire to serve in the armed forces, or desire to support the government, or your desire to do a whole host of things. There are many scholarships, and I need you to put your hat in the ring. Last but not least, have someone that you trust to review your write-up and review your application. It is humbling to be able to produce something and have somebody look at it. It's not daunting. Someone has your best interest at heart. Find a mentor, a teacher, that can look at your packet, look at your application for that scholarship, and make sure that you give it to them in enough time so that you can meet the deadline and turn it in. That is sealing the deal. And if you need help in remembering when these things happen, if you have a cell phone or a phone that does all the things, put it in your calendar reminders, write it down on a notepad. You don't have to have a cell phone. Put it somewhere where you can get an alarm when you're 1 week out, or write a sticky note, put it on a mirror and put the date on there, but make sure you put what the date means so that you don't forget. I hope that you have found this information helpful. I hope that you know that I am a trusted agent, that I'm not just telling you this because these are things that I made up. I know what I'm talking about, and I do have a particular point of view about the topic of scholarships, but more importantly, I want you to go out there and try new things, and I want you to put yourself out there. Never be afraid of going after what you want and putting yourself out there, because you're cool, you're unique, you have gifts, and you are worth the time and the effort. All right? I would love to know. Hit me up on social media. Send me an email, karen.felton@feetplantedllc.com, about your journey in scholarships. I would love to know how things go for you, but guess what? Let's get to getting. So until we talk again, let's go get that money. All right. Y'all have a good one.